Good morning. As our student orchestra plays this first song, please find your seats. The procession of speakers, trustees, faculty, and staff will begin with the song following this one. Thank you.
Please rise for the procession of the Kingswood Oxford class of 2024. please remain standing for our school song, which you can find on the inside of the program, written by former faculty member Rich Sharapa. Please be seated. It is wonderful to welcome you, along with the trustees of Kingswood Oxford, students, administrators, faculty, staff, family, friends, and the millions watching via live stream across the world today, to Kingswood Oxford's 112th commencement ceremony, celebrating the great class of 2024. We're going to start off with Mr. Ted Levine. I'd like to invite him to the stage to lead our invocation.
Hi. How are you? Good. Good morning, and welcome to you all who have traveled near and far to join us today. And it is a beautiful day. And to the class of 2024, if you don't know you're beautiful, you are. And you'll hear this today, your day, many times. And I have a new band for your playlist. It's Black 47, an Irish Celtic rock band, a favorite, political, passionate, at times angry. And here's one song refrain powerfully calling for commitment to a cause. Where will you be when we need you the most? This might be soon. You live in complicated times. You don't have much of a choice. And the question for you is, what will you do? What will you bring to these times? Where will you be when we need you the most? And what's next? Your time is now for widening. You will soon have this big chance to explore complexities you have yet to see. And at the same time, you'll sharpen, and you will find your single challenge, the profound question you have to answer, the ambiguity needing to be clarified. Scientists, you'll need to solve the problems science created. Historians, make sure our collective memory moves beyond fable and forgetting. Reaffirm the civility of facts in a world of spurious voices. Artists and writers, explore deeply our potentials and vulnerabilities. You'll have so much information to explore what we can do. I know you'll find the wisdom necessary to figure out what we should do. And all of you accept the challenges of these times with confidence and prudence and modesty. Where will you be when we need you the most? So far, good optics. You've been a wonderfully caring class. You are remarkably talented. We all see this in so many moments. Last night, your terrific class night, your exquisite photography and paintings and portraits offered brief yet deep glimpses of who you are, glimpses of you we would never catch just passing each other between classes. Your class night speeches let us know how you are ready to move on. Alex, from those first days and first friends onward, you locked in a community always encouraging, and how you created your unique milestones, and how the KO journey is above all a confidence lesson. Samir, last night you reminded us how many narratives make up our collective memory here. We all know how this is a community of friends and mentors and family, and how it's made in its seams. These moments truly form a community of caring beyond self. Allie, do change the world. It could use it. And as scary as it might be, your time here was a blend of experiences making you more than ready, the shared ones and the ones singularly yours. And go for it. Confidently embrace changes, patterns, and prospects. Maggie, last fall you made connections as you logged your classes' anticipation and excitement. What will be for all the next moments beyond KO? You brought your class together to share what will be a near future full of fresh choices and new perspectives. And Nate, in your words, perseverance, dedication, integrity, defined your journey here, passion for learning and leadership, and how all this is composed of little conversations, both coincidental and meaningful, and always evolving, reflecting how this community embraces an ongoing reinvention of self and celebrates at once who you are and who you will become. And Georgia and Lucas, last night you showed how humor is a community's bond. So to the class of 2024, go do good things in these interesting times and stay connected to us. You have a community here that cares about you deeply, teachers who have listened to your ideas and nurtured your unique voices, teachers who have grown with you. You know what? Teachers who have read every word you have written. You know what? You may never have this again, not in college and not in life. So to all of you, a deep thank you. At times you surprised us, you certainly impressed us, and we wish you all the very, very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levine. I'd like next to welcome Ava Cashman from the class of 2024 up to the podium to introduce our commencement speaker. Ava, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ava Cashman, and today I have the honor of introducing David Hild as this year's commencement speaker. It's tradition at KO that each year the senior class chooses a faculty member to speak at our graduation. And I can't think of a more fitting person than Mr. Hild to connect with us on our last day as seniors. Not only has he been a positive force in all of our KO experiences as our form dean, but he is also graduating with us today. Mr. Hild's KO journey has been almost 50 years in the making. In 1975, he joined KO as a Form 2 student. 5 years later, he graduated KO and went on to attend Bates College. After starting his family in California, Mr. Hild decided to return back home to Connecticut and start a new chapter of his KO story. For 31 years, Mr. Hild has devoted himself to the KO community as an English teacher, advisor, coach, dean, and more. Today, Mr. Hild will be saying goodbye to the KO community alongside the class of 2024, and we all congratulate him on his well-earned retirement. Let's give him a round of applause. It's a common cliche to say the people make the place, but at KO that holds especially true. After we graduate, we will not only take with us the friendships we've made with one another, but also another special parting gift, the connections we build with our teachers. If someone asks why KO teachers are that special, I would point them to Mr. Hild. Beyond the many titles and roles he's held at KO, Mr. Hild is a true example of selflessness. For the last 31 years, Mr. Hild has poured his love, care, and positive energy into KO, helping countless students along the way find their place and feel at home here. During our freshman year, when he knew we all needed some sort of connection in the chaos of COVID, Mr. Hild gave us the gift of Callie. I can still remember that day in our first period freshman English 3 class when we were all surprised as a cuddly, loving golden retriever came barreling through our classroom door. Bringing us Callie, and now Josie, Mr. Hild has always looked for ways to bring more joy and connection to our community. Mr. Hild shows his empathy and genuine care for every student that he works with. I've been so lucky to have Mr. Hild as my advisor for the past 2 years. And I once joked to my parents that Mr. Hild always knows what I need before I even realize it myself. Mr. Hild has always been the one to give me that gentle push to make the decision that's right for me, even when it's not easy. From convincing me to go on the Camp Marywood trip as a prefect, to being the voice of reason as I agonized over my senior year class schedule, Mr. Hild's support has guided me through high school, putting me on paths to make lasting friendships and find genuine happiness at KO. Mr. Hild, you're a person who's changed all of our lives. You're the teacher we'll tell our kids about when they ask us to recall memories from high school. You're a reminder that the most impactful people in our lives aren't the ones who make a grand gesture once or twice, but the people who show up for us every day. You are that person at KO for me and for the entire class of 2024. Whether we're venting on your couch about our days, hearing one of your notorious camp stories, or throwing a lacrosse ball down the halls with Josie, every day you show your love for us by giving us an environment where we can be ourselves and be together. It is my honor to welcome Mr. Hild to the stage as this year's commencement speaker for the class of 2024.
Sorry, I might need a moment here. I'm usually good at checking my emotions in situations like this. My mom, whose example has always been my model, strongly believes in maintaining a public presence, but I've failed that so many times this year. And Ava's kind words this morning really just moved me. Thank you, Ava. I've loved being your advisor, teacher, friend the past 4 years, and I'm truly appreciative of you being on the stage with me today. You're the best. And thank you to the class of 2024 for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you today. It's truly an honor to share this one more morning with you and the full KO community, and I'm deeply thankful for it. I'd be remiss in not acknowledging how grateful I am for the support this community gave me last fall when Callie suddenly passed. She was my classroom and office mate for the past 4 years, and literally by my side each and every day since the onset of COVID. And I think almost everyone here would agree that she brought KO a brand of unconditional love and happiness in a way that only a dog can. I was completely broken by her loss. In January, I remember coming home and telling my wife, Susan, about teaching a Wyvern's wellness class where we were going over the symptoms of depression and realized that I checked like 7 out of the 10 boxes. But the love given to me by my colleagues, students, parents, and especially this class buoyed me. And thankfully, Susan, who knows me better than anyone else, wisely wedged little Josie into our lives. And while she can't replace Callie in my heart, she's forced me to find room within it for her. Many of you know I love storytelling. I talk about it ad infinitum. And I've had part of a wooden canoe in my classroom for the last 20 years. Standing in the northwest corner, it's the stern half, and it's a conversation piece. Most every upper school student has heard me tell the story of the canoe. Can I get hands actually for kids who have heard that story? It's just about everybody, certainly all the sophomores and freshmen. It plays really well with Form 3 kids. A tale from the backwoods of Maine about a solo late-night paddle to gather medicine for an ailing camper and battling with the undead severed limb of a young girl who passed away decades ago in a tragic water skiing accident. Millie Ford's detached arm clawing its way out of the lake and burying a bloody and broken fingernail in my boat? Yeah, that works. It's spooky, it's funny, it's self-deprecating and self-affirming at the same time. It's memorable for a lot of teenagers. I sometimes conclude a telling with words from my friend and former English symposium writer, Stuart Onan. He says that every narrator, being human, is unreliable. Only the story is true. And I'll concede that. I am sometimes unreliable. But my tales are spun with threads of truth. So allow me one last moment here next to Nicholson to share some stories that I hope will let you laugh a little and think a bit. In the fall of '83, Spandau Ballet, great band, sang "I Bought a Ticket to the World, but now I've come back to stay. Why do I find it hard to write the next line? I want the truth to be said." And that was kind of me in KO. I was a senior at Bates College at the time, completely focused on football, Fraulein's, and frosted mugs at the Goose. You can ask Mr. Gitlin about that reference if you have questions. And I was about to embark on a teaching career. But in writing a fully transparent speech, I've labored to find winning words and get the delivery right. And I know that if I litter my sentences with likes or ites or ums, you're not going to focus on what I'm trying to say. Nevertheless, I'm thrilled to be on this spot of turf around which so much of my life has transpired. I adore a Bart Giamatti quote which speaks of this very place. There are those who were born with the wisdom to know that nothing lasts. But I'm not that grown up. I'm a simpler creature tied to more primitive patterns and cycles. I need to think something lasts forever. And it might as well be that state of being that is this green, shining in the sun. I'm not sure those of you that are sitting in the sun right now in black gowns agree with that statement. But I do know that we give up our hearts to the past and we grow up fast. I loved being a kid here, and I fought hard not to grow up. And I still haven't fully come to terms with the fact I'm retiring. It seems like a few weeks ago I came to KO as a student in 1975. I'd been on campus many times previously, playing basketball in Sobey and Hewitt, and hit the bat out in the JV baseball field right over there. But I came here as a student because I was not exactly thriving at Sedgwick. I knew a bunch of KO kids from Brayburn and the West Hartford Youth Football League, and KO teachers who were my counselors at Camp Winona, people like Doug Morrill and Muddy Waters. And I loved being a student here. I had amazing teachers and coaches and friends. People who made me feel like they had sincere interest in me. People who made me feel confident. Pat Rossoff, Buck and Bobby, Drew Langhauser, Libby and Laney, Doc Ciro, Sadi, Stu Lindsay, Kathy, Chuck Glassmeyer, Tom and Kim Redden. This community created fierce loyalty and belonging. But I graduated in 1980 and departed the 06119 in search of something more. Maine's Moxie Museum, the Bronx Zoo, the Pacific Green Flash, only to return 13 years later. Here's that story. I went off to college, and soon after I graduated, I found myself thrilled to assume the role of a teacher coach advisor at the Horace Mann School in New York City. I was 21. That first year, I audited a mentor teacher's freshman English class. I taught 2 classes myself. I taught tennis and PE classes. I advised 8 juniors, was an assistant football coach, the freshman basketball coach, and the head lacrosse coach. I made $14,000 that year. I lived in a Bronx studio apartment in which 2 weeks before the first day of classes, the head of school's secretary's mother had expired. But I loved it. The job, not the apartment. Susan and I married in August of '85, and we stayed at Horace Mann for 3 years and then found sunnier shores at the Bishop School in La Jolla, California. We started our family there, adding David and Stephen and a black lab named Ebby. And at Bishop's, I taught all levels of English and advised and became a class dean and coached football and basketball and baseball. There was no lacrosse in San Diego in the 1980s. The school was an elite prep school hard by beaches populated by surfers and SEALs. And there I learned the intricacies of how to be an effective teacher, coach, benefiting from the guidance of gifted and generous colleagues. So how did I end up back at KO? In November of '93, I got a call from head of school Lee Levison asking me to come back to be the head football coach. It doesn't seem real logical to move back to West Hartford from San Diego. going from a Four Seasons resort 100 yards from La Jolla Cove to a plucky Verbo up the hill from Trout Brook. But I've never regretted coming home. The opportunity to be close to family and raising my kids and to try to give back to KO were more than compelling. And to be honest, I've spent time very consciously that spring pondering what my story would be at the end of my career, say 2024, if I stayed in San Diego versus coming home. And I like the New England version a lot better. I still do. Over the past month or so, I've thought often of a novel, How Green Was My Valley by Richard Llewellyn, later turned into a film that beat Citizen Kane for the Best Picture in 1941. It tells the story of a hard-working Welsh mining family from the point of view of the youngest child, Hugh, who lives with his affectionate and kind parents as well as his siblings. Llewellyn's story chronicles life in the little community, the losses and hardships that all humans endure, and their effects on the family. Hugh's childhood is idyllic, if not perfect. The town is beautiful, if not Shangri-La. The workers do their jobs with pride and proficiency, if not respectable compensation. The family is warm and loving, if not coddling or nepotistic. The community is filled with trusted mentors, if not soft touches. Though that summary doesn't 100% match life here, the feelings I get when I settle into a viewing of How Green Was My Valley are the same I get when I think of KO. Llewellyn's story is an elegy, and to some extent, so is this speech. Much of what I speak of today is to praise the bridge that carried me over, and that's Kingswood, Oxford. Each September, my American Dream English class explores the promise of this land by sharing a list of their dreams and goals. I'm old now, so my dreams involve long-term relationships and positive experiences. So in advancing some commencement speaker advice, I want to tell you some stories about positivity, kindness, and teamwork. What does it really mean to be positive and kind? Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, all of which have the ability to make a life better. During the first decade of my tenure here, I was in many ways a disciplinarian. The duties of head football coach and dean of students rest on making sure that the trains run on time. But as I transitioned into more user-friendly roles, I found myself ever more convinced that the way I could best reach students was through positivity and kindness. Kind words are jewels that live in the heart and soul. And to that end, I sought to devote as much time as I could to my students because how better to show them kindness? Patience and empathy can't really be taught, but if you want to be an effective teacher, coach, leader, or human being, you've got to be relational. You've got to give them your time, and you've got to effectively communicate. But effective communication is oftentimes hard. Two rather out-of-this-world stories to illustrate that point. In his novel Breakfast of Champions, satirist Kurt Vonnegut writes of an alien who comes to Earth with the truest of hearts to help mankind. A flying saucer carries Zog to Earth so he can explain how wars can be prevented and how cancer can be cured. He brings the information from a planet where the natives converse by means of farts and tap dancing. Zog lands at night in suburban Connecticut. He has no sooner touched down than he sees a house on fire. He rushes to the house's front door, knocks on it, and begins furiously farting and tap dancing to warn its occupants of the terrible danger they're in. The head of the house, afraid, confused, and revolted by this farting and tap dancing creature, goes to his golf bag and summarily brains Zog with his 3-iron. Sometimes the best of intentions fail due to communication problems. But oddly, sometimes the actual wording doesn't matter. The feeling communicated works by itself. Second mini story. I used to watch a lot of cartoons when I was a kid. The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle had great heroes and villains, but the Jetsons was certainly among the finer ways to spend a TV session. Set in a futuristic society, George Jetson raises his boy Elroy, daughter Judy, with Jane, his wife. And he has a big, goofy dog named Astro and a riveting robot named Rosie. In the episode A Date with Jet Screamer, George's daughter Judy enters a songwriting contest and wins a date with Jet Screamer, the Elvis Presley of his galaxy. Judy's song takes first place in the contest because her little brother Elroy has accidentally inserted the words "eep op ork ah ah" immediately before the lyrics "I love you." Jet recognizes it's catchy, drops the tune on his Spotify, and soon most of the cool kids in Orbit City are flying around singing "eep op ork ah ah," and that means "I love you." Jet Screamer is a talent from a galaxy far, far in the future. Not a rock star, that would be a crooning Fred Flintstone, but he's definitely a star rocker who's able to convey emotion through his voice, perhaps the Taylor Swift of his time. So it's not always what you say, even if it's gibberish, it's the emotion that's felt. Maya Angelou shared that people will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And she's right. I vividly remember Wyvern legend and my football coach, Joe Lorden, teaching me the intricacies of the Taft wishbone and the blackboard in R225, linebacker intel that I needed to know to read Taft's offense and make tackles. Sensing some confusion on my part, and in the midst of his explanation, he smiled as he growled at me, "Jesus Christ, Hild, I can teach my dog to do this." I remember thinking, well, he's not very religious, but he loves his dog, a plus, and he spends a lot of time with me. Now, there are situations where no matter how well one communicates support, teammates might not be in a time or place in which they're able to take advantage of or use such help. And that's a tough spot to be in for everyone involved. But clear and consistent efforts to show positivity, kindness, and love almost always come to fruition. And you'll never be wrong or feel lesser for trying. So this is my charge to you. Get on board. Come on in. Join the team. And when I say team, I mean it in the broadest, most Catholic, small c way. Teams are built on communication and kindness. They thrive on empathy. I'm a proud member of tons of teams at KO. My Hild advisees, the English department, the American Dream, Monsters, Inc., and English 3, periods 1 and 2 classes, the Form 3 orientation group, the football and lacrosse teams, the foreign deans, Wyvern's Wellness, Team Toba T, the class of 2024, the Form 6 advisors, and of course the Canines on Campus cadre. But that's just the KO community. Outside of it, I'm a member of Camps Marywood and Winona, football and lacrosse teams from Bates and Middlebury colleges, and any and all other communities where I've worked, played, or lived in the past. And many smaller subsections of those bigger teams, the Upper Baker Pond waterfront staff, and more massive configurations of those bigger teams, Fenway Faithful. But most important of all, I'm a part of Team Hild. Whatever else I may be, I am always, first and foremost, my parents' son, my sister's brother, my wife's husband, my son's dad, and Archie and Margot's pop. Those are the most hardy teams in my life. So your teams could be any assembled grouping, but whatever teams you choose membership. Scads of research has proved that people live longer, healthier, and happier lives when they are enmeshed in a community. And don't get me wrong, I think we all need moments to ourselves. I'm a strong proponent of going for a long run on a country road or paddleboarding, a placid lake, getting lost in a novel, or sampling a new podcast. We all need individual/me time. But the majority of our life experience is best lived when we find ourselves part of a group. Under the right circumstances, individual teams unite communities. The symbiotic nature of working and playing in a group eases the stress of living and engenders the enjoyment of life. Team Toba Tea is one of the finest opportunities that KO has ever provided its students. It's a life-changing experience for many. And if you're a teacher and you want to get to know, really know your students, go and spend 10 days with them in Paraguay. Through the generosity of Ron and Denise Garcia, I've been privileged to make the trip 6 times. And I've always stayed with my friends at the Pizzeria La Farola and a member of work groups that either help move bricks or manually level soccer fields or extract boulders from playgrounds or cut sugar cane or play pato pato gonzo with elementary school kids. It's hot, humid, hard work. In 2009, Mr. Garcia thought it would be great fun for my Fuego work group to do a dance performance at the 50th anniversary celebration of Toba T Public High School. So unbeknownst to us, he volunteered us to be the marquee act of the night. Now, truth be told, as a former athlete, I'm not at all shy about performing in front of a crowd, except when it involves dancing, because I'm a terrible dancer. I don't just have 2 left feet, I don't really sync my movements with the music very well. But my Fuego comrades were all seniors who had been in my English symposium class that fall, and as much as I wanted to opt out, I couldn't. So with the help of our dance teacher, David, we practiced day after day after day, dancing to Daddy Yankee's Despacito on the terrace of the Maki School, in the courtyard of Central Headquarters, and even at the Costa Alegre Elementary School. The practicing was interminable. Seemed the sun was always blazing when we rehearsed, and that I continuously failed to improve. But my teammates encouraged me, and I encouraged them. It's fair to say that none of us were thrilled about this opportunity, but we put our best game face on to represent Team Toba T. We adopted a go big or go home philosophy, and going home wasn't really an option given the 8-hour flight from Sao Paulo to JFK. However we were going to be received on the night of the performance, we were going for 100% investment in the dance. Exaggerated body and arm movements, facial expressions that would define exhilaration and defy expectations. Now, because I've already told you that storytellers delve in honesty, I have to tell you that I wanted no part of this. And I knew in my heart of hearts I was going to look beyond foolish, really incompetent. But pride is the mother of all sins, and sometimes humility is required to foster a greater good. On the night of the big celebration, prepping us in a small windowless alcove above the stage, the costumers adorned us in the shortest shorts they could find. Havaiana flip-flops, bright white sleeveless crop top t-shirts, and then they covered us in glitter. As third former Annie O'Connor would say, "Mr. Hild, the fit is given." For those of you who are not hip to that terminology, and I was not either, that means the outfit is great. And thus attired, we went out on a sultry and sweaty Paraguayan stage and performed for about 2,000 Tobatians. We sold our performance with pure enthusiasm, if not ability. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second that our performance was actually good. The crowd probably didn't think that either. But they gave us the loudest and most enthusiastic cheers heard all night because they recognized our effort and rewarded it. And honestly, I don't know if that really matters because we as a team were completely united. Everyone had done their best, supported their peers, and won. And when you show a willingness to care beyond self, people respond in kind. And in 2012 or so, Mr. Garcia and I became friends again. Being on a team makes you give. Your focus isn't on me, but we. You find things within yourself that you didn't know you had. You better yourself and the people you're with by being a member of that community. For many of my years as a head coach here, I would speak to my teams about the significance of wearing the gray tee. It used to be that KO athletes got a role consisting of black shorts, gray socks, a fresh towel, and a gray t-shirt every day. Some people remember this. I love the gray tee. It wasn't fancy. It was just a simple gray t-shirt with an encircled black letter S, M, L, or XL in the center of the chest. The gray tee symbolized you were just one of the guys. You weren't special. You weren't a dude. You're just a member of the team. And in that uniform, there's equality. For about 30 years, KO athletes wore the gray tee to every practice and for every game. It was indestructible, metaphorically and literally. I honestly don't know what those things are made of. Wyverns work and play together, and they last forever. Both my sons went to KO and played football and lacrosse here. My younger son earned 8 varsity letters playing both sports in college, and his older brother earned 4 in lacrosse and then continued to play professionally for several years before graduating. And in each and every post-KO game they played, they both wore a KO gray tee under their pads. Maybe it was superstition, maybe because it never expires, or maybe it was the message that they desired to remind themselves of. It's not about me. So whatever team you're on, frame your role around helping others more than looking out for yourself. Make it your primary goal to support your teammates. It's in giving to one another that each of our lives becomes meaningful. And each and every one of us has something to give. Think about how great your team would be if everyone on it viewed their participation as a contest of giving. I love that phrase, a contest of giving. What heights could you collectively and individually reach if everyone competed to be the best giver? So tirelessly seek to help and support your team. Even the conscious act of trying to determine not what you want, but what the team needs betters you. And as I learned time and time again over my teaching career, what's best for the community is what's best for the individual. Those who are selfless tend to be relentlessly positive and constantly move from situations of fragmentation to integration. They have tons of friends and are profoundly happy. They lead purposeful lives of integrity and involvement. Class of 2024, I love you, and I hope to remain a part of your individual stories and our collective team. Let's take the good times as they go. I'll meet you further on up the road. Thank you.
David, thank you for that. We are going to miss you and hope that you will be back often. All right, we now get to the exciting part that the students have been waiting for probably most of all, which is the giving out of diplomas. If I could invite our head of upper school, Lisa Loeb, to the podium to assist, as well as our chair of the board, Jeff Gitlin, for the presentation of diplomas.
Jillian Zaria Alexander. Alexandra Grace Arcaro. Esther Arimaro. Samuel Auclair. Randon Langston Bear. Emma Margaret Behringer. Sanvi Bathula. Maximus J. Bedard. Nikolai Bastian Benz. Nathan Charles Bowes. Ileana Hope Brett. Ashley Elizabeth Buckingham. Aiden Matthew Butler. Michael Roman Bizwicki. Jianan Tsai. Ava Marie Cashman. Basil Irfan Chugtai. Samuel Cote. Damian Cesari Czartoryski. Grant Edward Daigle. John Polk Decker. Sean William Delaney. Domenico Donuzzo. Jackson Rudy Drapo. Ipama Ibana. Sienna Diam Freeman. Pauline Ella Golder. Sean Padrig Habib. Charles Bryant Hare. Hannah Miriam Hajai. Avery Dylan Hirsch. Audrey Pearl Karasik. Maya Tandis Killery. Lucas Brand Collin. John Lawrence Kumpa. Allison Emma LaCroix. Andrew Dylan LaCroix. Shua Ting and Lee. Ava Jade Lesham. Alexander Noah Levin. Anissa Rihanna Lewis. Avia Joy Lore. Casey Arely Lopez Diaz. Georgia Catherine Lewis. Ding Martin Ma. Hannah Ruby Malkin. Odin Rock Malls. Jacob Ajalon Sylvester Mapp. Adam Merritt. Dia Kamlesh Mistry. Roman Murray. Manila Muthukumar. Ashley Ruth Nycree. Chelsea Rose O'Donnell. Ashni Patel. Samir Patel. Amog Petapothla. Luke Pauley. Margaret A. Poulin. Alexa Hyacinth Ilka Prahl. Cloud Chue. Sophia May Radmanovich. Alisa Nicole Rubin. Oscar Luca Rooser. Ian Harrington Russell. Ty Robert Russo. Sinani Badruddin Sabaduka. Charles John Simons. Edward James Simons. William J. Slayton. Ella Jean Sokale. Olivia Sydney Stevens. Dhruv Suryadevara. Loretta Pearl Sish. Cami Ida Tarantino. Scott Matthew Taylor. Anna Maria Tipner. Nicholas Franz Tipner. Elijah Mark Wells. Erin Rebecca Westfall. Celia Grace Yaworski. Luciana Eva Ibarra. Shuhan Leo Jung. Tianyu Ryan Jung. Ardit Zuta.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 2024. All right, we're almost there. To our newly minted alumni, before I give the charge to the senior class, I'd like us to take a moment to thank a few people. While your diploma was certainly the result of a lot of hard work on your part, there's been an army of supporters dedicated to helping you get here today. And I think it's important that we take a moment to acknowledge them too. First, I think Mr. Hild spoke of this quite beautifully. The setting of this commencement is, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful you'll find at any school in the country. A senior green encircled by large oak trees, framed by school buildings that date back to the early 20th century. This truly is a remarkable spot on earth and an intimate way to celebrate this wonderful class. But there are a group of people on this campus who work tirelessly to make it look this nice. So please join me in congratulating or thanking our B&G crew for spending countless hours. Next, to the parents, grandparents, and others who have taken a role in the upbringing of these amazing young people. Thank you for entrusting us in the awesome task of raising responsible, thoughtful young people. Seniors, these people have been your biggest supporters and have made more sacrifices than they could count on two hands in time, money, and energy to provide you with the opportunity to attend KO. Please join me in thanking them. We also owe a debt of gratitude to the people sitting behind me, the Board of Trustees of Kingswood Oxford School. Though you all do not get the great pleasure that we have of interacting with these amazing students on a daily basis, your tireless commitment, time, philanthropy, and your wisdom have also made it possible for these students to become graduates of KO today. So thank you, KO Board of Trustees. And last, though certainly not least, if I could ask the faculty present to please rise. Seniors, where would you be without this group of talented and caring group of adults who brought you into their lives, shared their passions with you, laughed with you, sometimes cried with you, and helped you dig out of those holes that every once in a while you dug for yourselves? All, please join me in thanking the very talented, dedicated group of faculty and staff of Kingswood Oxford School. Now, on to my charge to the class of 2024. I have three relatively brief charges for you. First, do not take the next 4 years for granted. It is a privilege to go to college. In many ways, you have won the lottery of birth. Only 7% of the world's population will have the opportunity to earn a degree from college. In thinking about the importance of education, Oprah Winfrey commented that education is the key to unlocking the world, a passport to freedom. It is the #1 driver of economic growth, poverty reduction, and improved health in the world. But in a developed country like ours, we sometimes take it for granted. If you think about it, it's an amazing, incredible luxury to have the time to spare to learn how to read, write, play on a sports team, or sing on a stage. Many children in the world start working as soon as they are old enough to contribute to the family economy. A roof over your head, food to eat, clean drinking water take priority over studying biology, with apologies, Mr. Goodman. In South Sudan, 70% of children your age and younger have to move with their cattle throughout the year and don't go to school at all. In Afghanistan, children there have experienced 3 decades of war and violence, and young girls, in particular, have been excluded from going to school by the brutal, misogynistic regime of the Taliban. 18-year-olds around the world would do anything to be in your shoes, to be in Mr. Hild's English class, discussing Lady Macbeth's role in the murder of King Duncan, or doing homework for that challenging pre-calc honors class. In developed countries like the United States, the very opportunity to go to a college is still very much a luxury. Only about 35% of Americans graduate from college. And if you're lucky enough to earn a bachelor's degree, your salary will be 86% higher on average than those with only a high school diploma. Never forget that college is a great privilege. Remind yourself of this occasionally over the next few years when you're stressed out about an exam or feeling overwhelmed by the workload. My second charge is kind of the sibling charge to charge 1. Do not view your college education as a means to an end, but embrace it as an end in itself. There's been an unfortunate growing trend to view education in transactional terms, as a commodity in the marketplace. Sadly, this perspective often starts in high school, where the pressure to get into as selective a school as possible leads students to make strategic choices to pad a college resume. The unfortunate outcome of this system is that it attempts to reduce you to a number. What's your cumulative GPA? Your SAT score? How many APs did you take? Are you the first to come off the bench? Do you have the third most lines in the play? Maybe sometime soon, artificial intelligence will develop a formula that can quantify your choices and accomplishments while you're in school. Input your GPA, your ACT score, the number of minutes you played on the basketball team, or the words you wrote in the KO News editorial, and voila, out comes your number, a quantifiable you that the world can rank and predict outcomes for you. Again, sadly, many colleges use a dumbed-down version of this to make their decisions about whether or not to accept you at their university. If high school is about getting into a college, then college then becomes about preparing you for the workforce. In a recent survey of over 86,000 students at 3,000 different colleges, the most common reason, 58% of them, cited for pursuing a college education was, quote, work readiness and to get a higher paying job. There are a few problems I have with this system. The first and most obvious one is that it doesn't tell the whole story about you. It does not measure the intangibles, like your ability to navigate complex social relationships, your ability to bounce back from failure, or even just how you learn from a mistake that you make. These are some of the most powerful indicators of success in the real world, and the number does not represent these well at all. And I've witnessed so many of those traits in this class over the past years. The system also suggests to you that the outcome is the most important, the only thing in life. Getting the A, getting into a particular school, landing that high-profile job. It also might make you choose a class or a course of study or even a career path for the wrong reasons. The emphasis on the end goal sometimes makes you lose sight of the process itself, and it relies on extrinsic rewards to get you there. Yet study after study suggests that the most important motivators that lead to deep learning are not external things like grades or a cash bonus, but intrinsic ones like natural curiosity, autonomy, and feeling a sense of purpose. The great thinkers, inventors, entrepreneurs, and difference makers in this world were not driven by money, power, or other kinds of rewards. They achieved great heights, they made great discoveries because they were curious, driven to solve an intractable problem, or that they wanted to make a difference in the world. So what's the purpose of college? Don't look at these next 4 years as an investment in your future earnings. Rather, see them as an investment in becoming fully human. The transactional view of education offers an impoverished understanding of what college is really about. You are not a number, and the primary purpose of your college education is not to get a high-paying job. Consider that part an attractive side effect, maybe. The real purpose of these next 4 years is for you to expand your mind and broaden your horizons, to gain a better understanding of the world around you. Socrates famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. Spend these next 4 years heeding the call of Socrates. Surround yourself with people who come from different backgrounds than you do and think differently than you do. Challenge your own assumptions and ask questions relentlessly. I challenge you to take a challenging course, that one that's taught by the professor who everyone knows is a really tough grader, but has a reputation as one of the leading scholars in her field. The world needs more critical thinkers, and it needs more empathy. Learn to put yourself in the shoes of someone else and see the world the way they do. Learn to engage with them respectfully. In the end, the investment you make in becoming a lifelong learner will make you a more interesting and well-rounded person and will be far better preparation for the jobs of the future than any specialized training will ever do. Finally, my last charge to you is to choose something in life that makes you happy and gives you purpose. Enjoy the journey ahead. As Ferris Bueller said in his very famous Day Off, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop around and look every once in a while, you could miss it. Don't miss it. In the coming years, you will be pushed and pulled in one direction or another. You will face challenges. You will face stresses in college and in future jobs. And you will feel the pressure to be, quote, successful, to achieve someone else's version of success. One of my favorite bands from the 1980s, the Talking Heads, warns us in their song, Once in a Lifetime, about a looming existential conflict if, in the pursuit of traditional markers of success, we don't stop and look around every once in a while. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, how did I get here? I saw some of you mouthing that. None of the kids, strangely. The singer, David Byrne, suggests that he reached the pinnacle but lost sight of how he got there. You have all been prepared to get there. Kingswood, Oxford has prepared you well. I will not be surprised if some of you start your own businesses or we see you on Broadway one day. It won't shock me to hear if one of you might argue a case before the Supreme Court, deliver a speech before Congress, or even win a Nobel Prize. Others may not quite achieve those lofty heights, but you may still find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile with a beautiful house and a beautiful spouse. But you may get there only to find that you're not happy. Remember, real happiness, indeed living a successful life, comes from developing meaningful relationships, finding purpose in your work, and finding purpose in serving others. As you find your way in this world, do not lose sight of how you get there and choose something that makes you look forward to waking up every morning. We look forward to hearing how happy you will be. I will leave you with a somewhat overused Irish blessing, overused by me because I've done it every single commencement, but I think for good reason. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. One more final charge. Call your parents at least once a week next year. I would now like to invite Mr. Rob Keif to the stage for a farewell message.
Thank you, Mr. Dillo. Mentioning the Supreme Court, noticing the trustees in their black robes, I feel like I'm standing in front of the Supreme Court. Class of 2024. One quality of your class that has always impressed me is your abundant kindness. From Tobati, where you helped to build a school and playground, to the Threads fashion show, which raised money for the village for families and children, to the middle school Model UN, where you generously guided young students. You have reached out to others in ways large and small, and I know that each of you will continue that tradition as you begin your lives as young adults. Always remember that no act of caring or generosity, no matter how tiny, is ever wasted. A word of encouragement to a younger brother or sister, a sincere compliment to your college roommate, or simply a cheerful hello to a passerby says to that person, I care, you matter, I thought of you. Each of us has our own definition of success. Here is Ralph Waldo Emerson's. If even one life has breathed easier because of you, this is to have succeeded. Thank you, congratulations, and Godspeed.
Thank you, Mr. Keif. It's a long-standing Kingswood Oxford tradition that a senior is actually not officially graduated until they have shaken the hand of every faculty member at the school. So seniors, as you process off the green, please remember to make your way to the receiving line behind me over here to participate in this tradition. Parents, grandparents, and others, please feel free to take photos during the receiving line, but please also be sure to allow space for the seniors and faculty to say farewell to one another. Please rise for the recessional.